1, 2, 3, 4. If you're looking for me, you better check under the sea, 'cause that is where you'll find me, underneath the Sealab, underneath the water. Sealab at the bottom of the sea. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 72. I'm your host, Jermaine Event. Welcome to the Babylon 5 podcast. As I said, episode 72. We're just going to call this one Sealab 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it. Nigga, we made it. That's a reference to, they're talking about, I don't know, there's some video back in the day, some little Asian girl was talking about how the presidents built the country for us. They built this country. Like, nigga, we made it, or some shit. I don't know, it was something crazy. It was something crazy she was saying. Like, nigga, we made it. Random shit. Oh, can you hear that? I can't hear it. I was sitting there like, oh, I can't even hear that at all. Let me see. Did I turn it down more? Oh, I didn't turn it down to 21. I turned it down to like 6. Let me see.
Remember dark skin, man?
Nah, that's too loud. So I was like, fuck. When I watched the Joe Budden podcast, he'll be doing his drops, and I'm like, dude, there's got to be some way for me to do that. And I got this, I got my Atom, my drum pads here.
Remember dark skin, man?
And I was already working on a beat with the sample. I got the whole acapella.
Remember dark skin, man? Swayed in the rain. I'm sort of kind of the same.
Yeah, but just before I started recording this, I was like, fuck, I guarantee if I just fucking load up a preset as if I'm making a beat, I guarantee that I would be able to put in those drops. So now I just if you niggas is listening to this and you niggas know where to find some fucking gunshots, some fucking air horns, nigga, I gotta get some fucking sound effects. Gonna record some drops, some things like that, because now that I know that I can do things like...
Remember dark skin, man?
You know what I'm saying? Because that's just who I am. Should I call this episode?
Remember dark skin, man?
Nah, DSJ is probably gonna be the album, but...
Remember dark skin, man? Remember dark skin, man?
I'm your boy. Just trying to let you boys know. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys social medias. If you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod, where I do most of my tweeting and posting. I post every day on Instagram. I tweet mostly I tweet from random places. But if there's UFC, if there's combat sports or any kind of debate or anything, I'm tweeting from Babylon 5 Pod, from at Babylon 5 Pod. I'll post random personal shit from my personal account on at my name's Jermaine. If you want to email this podcast, go ahead at babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow this podcast at babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. If you guys got Xbox, go ahead and add me at SauceBoss414. If you guys want to add me on Twitch, at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Check out the merchandise at teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And don't just be my Negro, be my patron. Be my patron. Go to Babylon5Pod. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. If you niggas is on TikTok Anonymous, go ahead and, I'm just lighting incense. Just go ahead and, follow your boy at Babylon 5 Podcast on TikTok if you boys are on there. I don't know if y'all are. Just inhaling the incense. So, yeah, if you niggas on TikTok, go ahead and add a brother. Go ahead and, if you see the police, warn a brother. I was one of them bougie ass niggas. When I look back on it now, I used to wear a lot of shirts that had It had the Warner Brothers symbol on the front, and you know, it's like, if you see the police, Warner Brother. And at the time, I was like, man, I used to get them shirts. They'd be like $30 a shirt or some shit, but I'd be real hyped for them shirts, and people would be hyped on them at school. But looking back, man, that shit's gaudy. Like, my nigga, why did you wear that shit? There's no reason for me to wear that nonsense. You know, I was thinking, I don't think I went into this very necessary Dragon Ball Super rant, okay? They finished up the Moro arc. If you don't know, I went on my rant about how they killed Moro. If you don't know, spoiler alert, they defeat Moro. I mean, of course, what was Moro gonna do? Fucking kill all the Z-Fighters and end the series? I guess not. But they beat this nigga Moro, alright? And I told you my issue was that this weak ass nigga, right? The whole series, the whole saga, they're training, learning new abilities just to fight this nigga. And the way they beat this nigga is by destroying a crystal in his forehead that only appeared after this nigga absorbed a fucking android that fucking... Alright, he absorbed an android that had a crystal on his fucking head. And so they kill Moro by destroying the crystal on his head that he gained after eating this robot. Like fucking literally eating him fucking whole. They destroy him that way. Now they're starting the new saga, alright? They're starting the new saga. I went on my rant on how fucking dumb it was that they did all that training, learning all these abilities to stop all the shit that Moro can do, and then he gets new abilities. He doesn't use those abilities that they were training to defend against. Like, he doesn't use those abilities virtually at all in the final battle until, like, the last chapter where he used it to, like, suddenly start to gain energy from everybody on the planet, like, steal energy from everybody on the planet for, like, just a couple clips in the fucking chapter. I was like, dude, why wasn't he doing this the whole time? This is the one thing that they couldn't handle since the character was introduced. Why isn't he doing this the whole time? But he only used that ability for one fucking in one chapter of the whole saga, toward the end, right before he was destroyed. And I said it was so dumb that the fact that they defeated him by destroying the crystal that came from the robot 7-3. Now they starting a new saga, all right? New chapter came out. And, yeah, I don't think I talked about this nonsense here. You know, maybe it's like, nigga, you're 31 and you shouldn't be reading these Dragon Ball Super mangas, but I'm in too deep, my nigga. I'm in too fucking deep. I can't turn away now. Maybe one day. They keep putting that carrot in front of me, and it's like maybe Vegeta will be the hero one day. You know what I'm saying? And I just keep turning the pages. It's like, oh shit, he got a new power up. He seems stronger than fucking Goku. And then it's like, nope. He gets knocked out with one blow, and then they give Goku a brand new fucking transformation that fucking supersedes anything that Vegeta was able to do. Like, that shit's so weak. That shit is so weak. But I digress. They start this new series where niggas is like, oh, did you niggas make sure that every piece, every little possible thing was destroyed when Moro was destroyed? And they're like, no, why would we look in this giant fucking crater like Moro was destroyed? And they cut to the fucking robot that this nigga ate, and it's just his head, like, almost like perfectly, fully fucking just unharmed, except for like one side of it. There's like a chunk out of the side of it. But like the crystal on his forehead that was destroyed when he was a part of Moro is perfectly back on his forehead. I was like, yo, that makes no sense. I mean, yes, he is 7'3", he's not Moro, but Moro fucking ate him and then got that jewel, that whatever that fucking thing on his forehead, he got that emerald on his forehead. They fucking destroyed it. And all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, well, part of that robot's still alive and his fucking emerald isn't destroyed. Where did Moro just have his brand new fucking own fucking emerald that didn't exist until he ate the fucking robot? And then, so some random aliens come down and they take this robot 7-3's head, take it up to some other evil-looking ass niggas, and they're making like a bunch of copies of 7-3, probably like just to make like a crazy fucking army of useless ass niggas. They just defeated all you niggas. Or maybe 7-3 would be smart enough to use no, he wouldn't, because he was there. All right. I'm like, oh, maybe 7-3 would be smart enough to use the energy draining ability that nobody could stop, since he copied Moro's abilities and can also do it. But he was there. And it wasn't just Moro that didn't use this ability. No, neither one of them, who both can do this ability, used that ability that nobody can stop. Remember when 7-3 was fighting Gohan, and Gohan all of a sudden was looking pretty tough? It was like, where'd this come from? I thought Gohan was weak. Then all of a sudden it was like, 7-3 was like, nigga, I got Moro's abilities. All of a sudden niggas couldn't move anymore. That shit completely neutralized everybody. And they just left because they were like, all right, we're going to tell Moro y'all are here and y'all have a lot of power because he's going to want to drain y'all energy personally. So they left them alive after completely neutralizing them in a second with the same ability that they introduced Moro with that nobody could fuck with except for Goku partially. When he was using Ultra Instinct, they were saying his speed was preventing Moro from absorbing his energy. Or I'm thinking, actually, now that we've moved further, I'm thinking he maybe wasn't able to absorb the God Ki because he wasn't able to sense Miras's God Ki, his Angel Ki. He didn't know what the hell he was before. You know what I'm saying? Until he copied Miras's abilities. And then for whatever reason started expanding, because that's what happens to every fucking Dragon Ball villain. Remember when Cell expanded and was going to explode? Guess what Moro did? He fucking expanded and it was about to explode. So, and then he fused with the planet, and somehow they were able to destroy just him and not the entire planet. But I don't know. You know, I started thinking, I started looking at most things as just like, you know, like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Niggas to be like, oh, what's better? And it's like, nigga, I don't know. They were all, at the end of the day, just a marketing campaign to get us little kids to go out there and go, oh shit, it's a Rat-a-tat. Let's go I want to go get that card. I want to go get that game. And I want to go, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just all a marketing campaign. Fucking dumbass Pokemon names that the Pokemon just walk around saying their name. And it's like, did you guys even actually try to name these Pokemon? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we just named everything based off the sound it made, like, I just think Professor Oak or whoever is in charge of naming these Pokemon need to chill out. He need to try a little harder, all right, than just whatever's the first thing that comes out of this creature's mouth. Meowth. All right, well, that's a Meowth. Like, hold on, bro. That's just the noise it makes. Give it a name. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe snake should be a s. You know what I'm saying? That's what you should call a snake, a s. Call a cow a moo. That's what you should call it, because it's the first thing that came out of his mouth. So I just look at it like, even with Dragon Ball Super at this point, like, at this point, it's just marketing. It's just me and everybody else. I mean, I don't buy any fucking nonsense. I guess I saw the last movie in the theaters, because I wanted to see the movie in theaters. I was interested in that. But what's the game here? Maybe it's the video games. If I'm thinking, like, what's the marketing campaign here? Other than just keeping people subscribing, they got the, they have this manga that I'm reading from. And this year they're going to put the manga that I was just reading into the television show. The television series should be returning this year, I believe. And, yeah. I think they have cards. They have all kinds. It's whatever. It's just a marketing campaign at the end of the day. That's what all this shit is. So, like, I keep just hoping and praying and wishing that you just throw my nigga Vegeta a bone. That's all I want, bruh. Like, that's all I guess, because I have to look at it like this, because, it's just how it is. He beat Pui Pui. Vegeta beat Pui Pui. Vegeta beat some niggas, but, like, because he never beat the big bad villain, niggas is like, oh, Vegeta never did it. But he's beat niggas, you know what I'm saying? Vegeta killed Nappa. I'm not saying Vegeta ain't, are we trying to say Vegeta ain't got bodies? Are we trying to say Vegeta ain't got bodies? Vegeta got bodies, all right? Vegeta's been out here dropping niggas. So, like, yeah, he didn't kill fucking Cell. He didn't kill fucking Frieza after he was fully aware that Frieza murdered everybody. Like, you knew your whole, like, most of your life, like, the moment they told Vegeta that an asteroid killed planet Vegeta and killed his whole family, he knew instantly that that was a lie and that Frieza did it, but he continued to work under this nigga. Bro, you should have figured out some way to, like, he was still out here enslaving planets, doing shit. If you think about it, that shit's kind of random as fuck. Cause he had Raditz, he had Nappa, and they sent Raditz to the planet, or Raditz went to Earth to grab Goku, cause they needed bodies. I think Frieza would have sent that nigga to get Goku to, like, beef up their army, to beef up his army. Them niggas was still coming to Earth with the intention to enslave the planet for Frieza, while being fully aware Frieza fucking destroyed everybody, killed everybody. Your whole planet, nigga. It's just wild. That's the flaws in the Saiyan saga. Flaws in why I'm so upset with the same story. They keep putting it over, and none of it ever makes sense, but I just keep hoping my nigga Vegeta, for whatever reason, is gonna get that motherfucking W. And I'm talking about the big W. Just trying to play this clip here.
Remember dark skin Jermaine?
Your boy's acting wild, and by I mean your boy, talking about the Donald, all right? President Donald fucking Trump. Jesus Christ. Ugh. President Donald Trump. Y'all niggas are wild. Y'all did that. Y'all wild. Y'all actually went there and voted for this nigga. Y'all wild. Like, all of y'all. Niggas that actually voted. I remember I was living with the nigga Josh Fricano, and he said to me one time, he was like, oh, well, I voted Republican last time, so I'm going to do Democrat this time, so looks like the front runner is D. Trump. My fucking jaw dropped, nigga. This was like 2015, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't the president yet, and he expressed that he was going to go to the polls, ladies and gentlemen. The nigga wasn't even the candidate yet. And he had this kind of support. Why? Why? Y'all niggas wild. That's how I feel. Y'all are fucking wild. But your boy here was begging niggas to find votes.
That you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their...
Man, it's like, when I listen, this is like the second time I'm listening to this nonsense. So when I'm hearing, I'm like, this can't be real. Like, this can't be a real phone call. This sounds fake to me. But apparently, he's actually having this conversation. It sounds fake to me.
Machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
Ryan, Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having.
Well, but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
What does that mean?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
I'm sure.
You should want to have an accurate election. And you're a Republican.
This nigga.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have. Not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes. You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense. And you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard.
Nigga, that's wild, nigga. He asked, like, first off, he said, like, yo, I heard niggas was getting rid of machines in Dominion and, like, trying to get rid of the machinery. It was like, nah, bro, they not getting rid of any machines. And he's like, but are they taking parts out of the machines and putting new parts in the machine? Nigga, you grasping at straws, my nigga. You're just making this up as you go. This shit is wild. That's why I'm like, man, I'm hearing this and I'm like, this cannot be real. This is the United States. This is the President of the United States of America, my nigga.
Removing machinery, and they're moving it as fast as they can, both of which are criminal fines, and you can't let it happen, and you are letting it happen. I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because...
Nigga, I just want to find these votes, nigga. I just want to find like 11,000 votes, nigga. Yo, this is the President of the United States, Donald Trump.
We won the state. So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us.
Nigga, how'd you win, nigga? By delusion, nigga? You can't just be... Nothing, like, I heard they were getting rid of machines. Nah, bro, they weren't. But were they taking parts out of the machines and putting new parts in the machine? Nigga, what are you talking about? We won the election. They can't take it from us.
Yes. And it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it. And you can re-examine it, but re-examine it with people that want to find answers, not people that don't want to find answers.
What the fuck does that mean?
For instance, I'm hearing Ryan, and he's probably, I'm sure, a great lawyer and everything, but he's making statements about those ballots that he doesn't know. But he's making them with such, he did make them with surety, but now I think he's less sure, because the answer is they all went to Biden. And that alone wins us the election by a lot.
What are you talking about?
You know, so.
Mr. President, you have people
people that submit information, and we have our people that submit information, and then it comes before the court, and the court then has to make a determination. We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right.
Yeah. Be a man.
Well, under law, you're not allowed to give faulty election results, okay? You're not allowed to do that, and that's what you've done. This is a faulty election result. And honestly, this should go very fast. You should meet tomorrow because you have a big election coming up, and because of what you've done to the president, you know, the people of Georgia know that this was a scam. And because of what you've done to the president, a lot of people aren't going out to vote. And a lot of Republicans are going to vote negative because they hate what you did to the president. Okay? They hate it. And they're going to vote. And if you would be respected, really respected, if this thing could be straightened out before the election. You have a big election coming up on Tuesday.
Jesus. Wow. He's trying to bully niggas into finding 11,000 votes, my nigga. Not only does he say, I need to find 11,000 votes, but you need to find them. You need to bring niggas in here that actually want to look for answers and not anyone that doesn't want to look for answers. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring people, them fucking, like I was talking about the video, the people were like, you could show them all the shit that Trump has done wrong, that they, like, he'll ask them a question of something they're against, and he'll point out that, like, that's something that Trump did, and they'll be like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, he's advocating to find motherfuckers like that. So what he's saying is, like, Joe won, his victory was 11,779 votes. So he was asking Joe, that's why Trump said he needs to find 11,780 votes just to win the state. He's talking to this fucking guy. What is this, the fucking Raffensperger? Who's this guy? Some nigga in Georgia. But they're trying to fucking Republican Brad Raffensperger, Georgia's Secretary of State, called that nigga to say, pretty much he's trying to bully this nigga to fucking overturn election results. Niggas like, yo, it'll do you a big favor to turn this around, switch it around. No, anybody gonna come out and vote for you if you don't do it. People in Georgia, they mad. Go ahead and turn that back around, or they ain't gonna vote for you. It's gonna end bad for you. Like this, that all sounds pretty fucking illegal, my nigga. That whole conversation sounds pretty fucking illegal. But, cause the niggas, Mr. President, like, dog, everything on that phone call is like, yo, this shit should not be happening right now. Like, why is this nigga talking like this? Like, but that's your boy, man. You guys did it. And you guys can't say, like, I did it. I took part because I didn't vote in that election, but, like, my one vote doesn't factor into you niggas voting for that man. So, you niggas did that. Like, any vote for that nigga, shame on you. None of you guys should have done that. None of you should have done that. That's silly. And now this nigga is calling, making threats. He's getting out of there, man. He's panicking. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens once he's actually removed from office. Because, you know, he's going to act a fool. He might start talking all kinds of nonsense, like revealing secrets and shit. I wonder if he knows some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, president's supposed to be debriefed on some shit when, you know. I wonder if he knows some shit. Excuse me. And after he leaves office, after he's forced to leave office, he threatened to expose some shit. I don't think he will. I don't think we'll see him around too long if he does that. He'll probably be arrested. Because they talking about, like, all this shit they have, you know what I'm saying, against him. he's trying to, I've heard all these things where he's got all these fucking, like, rape charges, like, sexual assault charges from children and shit like that. He's in the fucking shit with, like, what's that dude, Jeffrey Epstein and shit like that. Dude, he's a dirty dude, along with all kinds of other fucking not so disgusting criminal acts, like fraud and all kinds of shit. I mean, he's just a disgusting individual all around, and he's probably gonna be arrested shortly after. Is what I'm hearing. But that's y'all boy, man. That cold conversation sounded pretty illegal, pretty threatening to me, my nigga. Just not a fan. Y'all are wild. Y'all are fucking wild. I just didn't understand it right away. Right away. Without even listening to one fucking speech from Trump. I never understood how he was gaining momentum. I never understood how niggas was like, yeah, I'll vote for him. Niggas was like, he just says whatever he wants. I was like, he just made fun of a nigga with a disability. He just says whatever he wants. It's like, dog, if I worked with somebody like that, I would probably be like, schedule me or him at different times. That's not the kind of person anybody wants. If someone's at school, if you're in class and there's one kid who just keeps saying whatever the fuck he wants in the middle of class, that's not somebody everybody's like, fuck yeah, we love that kid. We love Blake. And I'm saying Blake because if you niggas grew up with me, there's a real nigga named Blake who was just like that. And so like, if it was a real nigga like Blake out here, a real white boy out here like Blake, fucking just saying whatever, just being crazy, just saying crazy nonsense all the time, no matter what it's about. Niggas weren't like, Blake is super fucking cool, let's hang out with Blake. Niggas was like, yo, that nigga's weird. How did you niggas get tricked by the weird nigga? That's what Trump is. He's the weird nigga in class. And you niggas just were like, oh, he just says whatever he wants. But yeah, he's fucking retarded, Craig. He's fucking retarded. The wife and I the other day, we got a hunt a killer box. Cause you know I listen to a lot of creepy shit, if you will. Just weird stories. I like to listen to stories on YouTube, like Let's Not Meets and shits like that. Like Mr. Nightmare is really good. I like that chapter is pretty cool. I had like just started on that chapter with Mike O, and then I like ran through his whole fucking thing, his whole channel, like real quick. Like, like I was like, fuck, I went through all these videos. Like, but yeah, he's got like 2 years worth of videos that he's been putting out, and I went through all that shit. So, but through all that, they talk about the subscription box, Hunt a Killer, and you know, they would talk about it, and I've heard some people in some of those videos where where I listen to people talk about creepy stories and shit like that. Niggas were talking about like they did it with a friend or some shit. They'd have like people come over, and it took them like hours to fucking get the box done. I'm like, yo, this shit's gonna be super dope, super intricate. You know what I'm saying, my nigga? It took us only about an hour to finish it, though. You know what I'm saying? And it's like either we're just like really intuitive, my nigga, or like they're all like fucking dumbasses. But I guess, I don't know. Maybe it would have been, I don't know, because, I mean, we were reading it. They have a card that tells you, like, all the items that comes with it. Like, there's, like, a fucking handwritten letter from the woman who was murdered. There's, like, an interactive, like, website you can go to. It has this, like, email that you can send to work within the game. And on that fucking interactive, like, desktop, they have, like, pictures of the dead body and shit. It's, like, fucking, like a real I don't think this case is like a real case, or maybe it was, but it's like some picture of like a dead looking body or some shit in a case, like random as fuck. Like, so it's like, well, they send you like souvenirs. I think you get a pin, you get a Hunter Killer pin, or a pin maybe based off of the first box that we have here. They give you these two cups, Hunter Killer cups that are pretty cool. Fit about a half a bottle of champagne in each of those cups, like exactly a half a bottle of champagne in each of those cups. So you get like some pretty cool souvenirs in there, and with the clues of what they get, you know, you can do the email to talk to the person who that's hired you for the case. You know, you guys take on the role of the detectives here. And then you have like handwritten notes, like a brochure for the play, or that's what it is for this one. I don't want to actually get into it, but it's like a pretty cool thing. It has a transcript on the interactive thing where it'll help you, like, if there's like possibly like secret codes within the letters that you're sent on the case to try to decipher hidden messages within certain items. So it's like it was pretty fun to get through, but we were just like both pretty disappointed that it was so quickly. So now we gotta like wait for the next subscription box to come whenever that does. But we finished this first box up in about an hour, and it really only took I don't want to ruin it. But yeah, you just gotta pay attention to detail. You know, they try to, as long as because we were like taking notes, where I was taking notes as we were going through it, and it's like, as long as you just like kind of, just keep notes, just try to remember the things that are being said, you can pretty much pick up, or maybe not. I mean, some of the notes that I took, like half of it didn't really mean anything to what we had to figure out within this subscription box. Some of it did, but just take notes, and I think it's pretty cool. If you guys like to get a cool subscription box, check out Hunter Killer. Go ahead and check out the website. Check how it is, man. I would suggest it for you if I was gonna suggest a subscription box to motherfuckers. New Year's Eve, the wife and I, we went to a Glassnote candle bar. You know what I'm saying? Went to a public place, took masks off. Maybe we all got COVID. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? I mean, we'll know soon. I think we'll know soon. They got super COVID out here now these days, ladies and gentlemen. They got super COVID. But I made probably the most interesting smelling candle anyone's ever fucking smelled. It was random as fuck. So what you do in that motherfucker, I think you gotta book out your space there. I mean, they just like opened up during COVID. So I don't know if like things are gonna change when things change, but so you set up your you book your time slot there, and it's not a big bar, smallish bar. It's like medium-sized bar, and they got spaced out tables, and only a certain amount of people are allowed in, like the groups, and then you got to get buzzed in and whatnot. While we were there was a dog with a bow tie. I think possibly if you guys go on a random day, there might be a dog there, but probably not with a bow tie. I think that bow tie was a New Year's special, Dog was pretty cool looking dog. Seemed pretty frightened. It would come up to you, and then if you like put your hand near it, it'd like just like run away from it. I was like, okay. I thought you were saying hello for a second ago. For a second there, I thought you wanted to say hello, but now you're running. And it just did that to everybody. Like, it'd go up to, like, anybody in the room, and then the second they go to pet it, it just run away. I was like, that's pretty cool. But anywho, so I made my candle, which I called Meg Gryffindor, which was my perfectly mixed, perfectly proportioned of pomegranate, sandalwood, butt naked, and monkey farts. I love how I didn't even notice before my phone like auto-corrected to monkey darts, which, I don't know. That doesn't even make sense, ladies and gentlemen. Monkey darts. Maybe it does. I don't know what monkey darts are. Maybe if I Googled monkey darts. I learned the other day, what was the word? Like censure or whatever, one random word I learned the other day. And I was like, dude, I've never heard this before. It was a word I learned, and then it was like one of the synonyms for that word was another word. I was like, yo, I've never even seen that shit before. Like, how is this real thing? But like, yo, this fucking mix smelled fucking amazing. This Meg Gryffindor. Yeah, it's pretty cool. The bar is it's dimly lit, a little intimate situation. Got the music playing. You can enjoy like some wine, or like they got like cocktails they can make for you. You can like have, a little White Claw. They got like, you can have some drinks while you're making your candle. You can have your oil. You go and you pick these scents. You go and smell through these scents on the wall. And that's when you pick out the scents that you want for your candle. And then you get some oils, and that's when the oils of those scents. And you can do the whole mix with the different oils, and you can mix it to the consistency that you want of the different smells that you put it together, to make it just smell the best that you want it to smell. You whip that whole thing together and whip it together with some wax, and then they chill that shit, and you just chilling because, they chill that, and you're chilling for like 25 minutes it takes for the chilling process. And, you can just hang out and have a drink and some good conversation while you're there. I think it's pretty chill-ass bar. I would recommend, if you're in the Milwaukee area, to check out Glassnote Candle Bar. Get yourself, make a candle with your date there. Sounds pretty cool. Moving on here. UFC news here. I thought it was so funny that last week I was talking about fights that I'm excited for. I was talking about Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards, and right after I ended talking about that fight, I was like, well, if these fights even happen, like I was talking about Khamzat and Leon. I was like, well, if these fights even happen. And the only fight out of the 3 fights that I was talking about is Khamzat and Leon that is being postponed because Khamzat apparently does have COVID and is recovering from COVID. The first time, there was like, when the fight was rebooked the first time, it was like, the rumor was that Khamzat had COVID, but then it turned out to be that Leon Edwards had COVID, and Khamzat didn't have COVID. And now they're saying Khamzat's pulling out because he did actually have COVID. So, like, did they both have COVID the whole time? And it's like he still has COVID and he's still recovering. So, like, they're looking to rebook the fight. Before they announced that they were going to rebook the fight, a lot of fighters were well, actually, they haven't announced that they're going to rebook the fight as far as I've seen. They just have announced that they were not going to find a replacement fighter for Leon Edwards to step in for Khamzat. So, but Leon Edwards tweeted out, "Where's that bitch Jorge?" which is a fight I'd love to see. I'd love to see Leon Edwards versus Jorge Masvidal. If you guys don't know, the whole 3-piece in a soda situation was when Jorge Masvidal walked over to Leon Edwards after the Darren Till fight in London and fucking hit Leon Edwards with the 3-piece in a soda backstage. Like, they were supposed to fight years ago, and it still hasn't happened. So I would love to see that fight. He tweeted, "Where's that bitch, Jorge?" But ultimately, they chose to just move. They chose to promote Neil Magny versus Michael Chiesa. That's how you say it. Neil Magny versus Michael Chiesa to the headlining spot. So I'm excited for that fight. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a real good fight. I mentioned Michael Chiesa last week, and I said Chiesa's a real good problem. So, he's a real problem at 170. But I honestly think Neil Magny's going to be the toughest challenge he's had to date easily. This is going to be a real good fight. So I was excited for that fight when it was just a 3-round fight. I think it's going to be a 5-round main event now. So it should be a real good fight. But also, the Masvidal thing. He says, "Where's that bitch Jorge?" That's not going to happen because Dana White has been very vocal, and Colby Covington even had an interview recently where he says they're trying to book Masvidal versus Covington. Covington said that he's pretty much signed, but Jorge, from what he's hearing, Jorge has said he doesn't like the style matchup, aka he knows he'd get that ass beat. So they're trying to book that fight regardless, because that fight that could headline a pay-per-view without any belts on the line. Man, you know what I'm saying? Two former best friends, they're at the top of the division in probably the second toughest division in the UFC. I would say 155 and then 170 are the two most exciting, toughest fighters, I would say. So, yeah, they're trying to book Masvidal versus Covington. I would much rather see that fight now. But, I think Covington stands a better chance at going in there and mollywopping Masvidal. Well, I think Leon Edwards versus Masvidal would be, I don't know, I think Masvidal has a better chance of beating Leon Edwards. I think he has no chance of beating Colby Covington. So that's why I would prefer to see Masvidal versus Covington. Let's just end this hype train from overrated ass Masvidal. He's overrated, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, this nigga Mike Jackson was scheduled for another UFC fight but pulled out on New Year's Eve. If you niggas don't know, Mike Jackson was the second opponent in the UFC for Phil Brooks, a.k.a. my nigga CM Punk. All right? I was so disgusted, my niggas. I was disgusted by that fight. I didn't watch the rest of the card. I looked it up. I was like, what did I miss that night? Because I remember I was just so disgusted after that fight. I almost was like, I don't even need to watch this shit anymore. That's how disgusted I was with Mike Jackson versus CM Punk. And I'm looking back, and it's fuck, there was 2 title fights that headlined that. Even before that, you had Holly Holm versus Megan Anderson. And it was Colby Covington versus Rafael Dos Anjos for the interim welterweight championship. And then you got Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero 2 for the fucking middleweight belt. I'm like, dude. I've seen those fights, already, looking back. I didn't realize that Yoel 2, or Romero Whittaker 2 and fucking Covington Dos Anjos was on the same card. Jesus Christ, it's a great card. But I fucking was so disgusted by that fight. I didn't watch the rest of that card. It was gross, man. Fucking Mike Jackson was just, Mike Jackson was out there to embarrass him, and I was always a fan. I grew up a pro wrestling fan. I wasn't always a huge CM Punk fan. He came around the time that I was leaving out of there. When I looked back on it, I was like, dude, I've never even seen this nigga wrestle. I had never even seen a match with this nigga. But just because he came from that world, I knew about him, you know what I'm saying, before he, became, WWE champion. I knew who he was from the indie scene because, I watched wrestling. But I didn't I never seen him wrestle in WWE. Is what I'm saying. I saw him wrestle in the fucking other shit. He would fight. I mean, he would wrestle in Illinois a lot for like smaller promotions. But yeah, anywho. So this nigga Mike Jackson, he was just set out to fucking embarrass Punk. He's out there. He had Punk on the ground. He gave this nigga a wet willy. Like, not even bullshit. He gave fucking Punk a wet willy. He's just fucking throwing these bolo punches. He's not even looking at Punk. He's just throwing punches at Punk, just looking around. Like, and I'm just like, dude, this is so fucking gross, man. I was so fucking disgusted by it. And I didn't want to watch UFC anymore, actually, after I saw this fight. But then I cooled off because Dana White, after the fight, he was like, he pretty much expressed what I expressed. He said that fight disgusted him, and he was like, Mike Jackson will never fight in the UFC. He was like, this is the biggest opportunity you ever had. You're in here fighting CM Punk. You got probably 1 million eyes on you, and you're in here giving wet willies out. You're like, you're not trying to finish this fight. You're in here just playing around. I was like, dude, that shit was fucking disgusting, man. I hated every second of it. Like, if he's not good enough to be in there, if you can beat him, like, beat him. But you're in there fucking playing around and giving this man a wet willy. He just wanted to embarrass him, man. It was just fucking terrible. But just because, like, Dana White felt that way afterwards, I was like, all right. At least, because I thought, it was like, I felt like the fight should have been stopped. I felt like they shouldn't have let him go out for that last round. I felt like the fight should have been stopped. And at that point, I felt like Dana was in on it just to, like, get Punk out of there. But he was pretty grossed out by the whole thing, too. And, that was the end of the thing. But I guess they finally, 2 years later, they rebooked Mike Jackson. And I'm looking forward to watching this man get his ass beat. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that is the scenario here. That's the scenario here. So what's the scenario? So I rewatched
Remember dark-skinned Jermaine?
I ain't forgot about that, ladies and gentlemen. We ain't forgot about
Remember
that.
dark-skinned Jermaine? Swayed in the rain. I'm sorta kinda the same.
I'm pretty lame. I rewatched Rose Namajuanas versus Jessica Andrade 2. And I know, like, the first time I watched it, I was saying, like, I thought Andrade won. I scored it live for Andrade. And I had been drinking some alcohol. All right? I had been drinking some alcohol. At the time, I'm pretty sure I bet Landon. He was like, put 10 on it. I was like, I got you. Andrade got this. So I was rooting for Andrade heading to this. And watching the last fight, watching the first fight, I thought that, because everybody was saying, like, Andrade got lucky in that fight and just slammed her. And I was like, nah, man. Like, toward the end of the first and in the second, leading up to that slam, leading up to the clinch, which caused the slam, like, Rose was slowing down and Jessica was starting to land. And so all that led to the slam, which knocked Rose out. So I felt pretty good that just watching how Rose was slowing down, that Andrade I thought it would be a 5-round fight as well. I was shocked at the end of the fight that there was. I was like, what? There's only 3 rounds? And I was like, oh, shit, I guess it's not a main event. But I thought it was going to be 5 rounds. And it was a 3-round fight. And so because Rose was tiring out and getting touched right before she got knocked out in the first fight, everybody was like, oh, it was a fluke. It was a fluke. And I'm like, nah, Andrade is going to take this. And first round, I'm just like, I'm thinking back and I'm watching and I'm looking at Andrade's head movement, and in Andrade's last fight, I was like, I picked her to win by a landslide because I was like, she looked so good in there against Rose, with the head movement and everything, I was like, she's on a new level. But I'm watching this fight back sober, and I'm like, fuck. Even with the head movement, Rose is clearly like landing like on her and doing more damage. Like Jessica is trying to get close to Rose, but she can't really. And Rose is just hitting her with the stiff jab, like busting her nose up, hitting her. So I'm like, all right, Rose gets the first round. All right, there's nothing really hard to tell there. That was a pretty clear-cut round. Then watch round 2, and then like Andrade starts to land some heavy leg kicks to start the round, but then Rose is still just fucking like the commentators. And I'm listening to it now, and I remember when I watched it the first time, I watched it live, the commentators are like, Rose Namajuanas' striking is so beautiful. And then, like, they just keep going off, like, on and on about how beautiful her striking is. And the whole time, I'm rooting for Andrade, and I'm like, y'all need to chill out. She about to get knocked out again. Like, and I'm just like brushing off everything they're saying, and like as I'm watching it again, I'm like, whoa, like she's looking amazing. She's fucking hitting her with a strike over here, and then her movements, she'll be over here to hit you with an uppercut, and then she's like, it was like, what the fuck? Like she looked amazing in there, like and like a fuck, like her striking is on another level, because like the way she kicks, and then the way she switches stances after a strike dude, her striking is phenomenal. She's got good jiu-jitsu. Like I was rooting for Andrade, and I watched this fight again with the intention to to back up my claim that Andrade won the second fight, clearly. But I'm watching this like, yo, Rose is whooping that ass. She's just dancing in there, kind of just like landing at will, even though Andrade is kind of confusing Rose with her head movement. It was like, she's still hitting that fucking stiff jab on her, catching her with flying knees and shit. I'm like, what the fuck was I watching? What the fuck was I watching? Rose is in there beating that ass. But I wanted fucking Andrade to win, so I was like completely blinded. Even as the commentators keep saying, if you're a coach, you would be so happy if you're watching Rose right now. And I'm sitting there like, y'all need to get off her dick, man. Like, what the fuck? And like, I'm watching it again like, holy shit, this is amazing. Flying knees to the switch kick, to the hook. Like, she's just all over the place. Like, the striking is so fluid. Like, it's amazing. Like, so then the third round comes. And once again, this is where Rose really starts to get tired. Actually, she starts to get tired by the end of the second round, and Andrade is starting to land just a little bit, but it was just at the end of the second round. And in the fucking third round, like, Rose is really fucking tiring out. She gets dropped by, so she gets hit by Andrade, and that, like, fucking wobbled her, and then she got thrown down by Andrade after that. So she wasn't knocked down by the punch, but she got hit behind the ear, it stunned her, and then she got thrown down to the ground. Andrade is just raining down punches. Her fucking nose is like cut, just like real nasty cut. Rose has a real nasty cut, like on the top of her nose. Like, she's bleeding all over the place. Just bloody mess. Eyes swollen shut. She's just fucking battered. And somehow, like, that only lasted about a minute of her just getting fucking battered. Which I'm, like, as I'm saying that now, it's like, getting fucking battered for a minute, that's a long time, my nigga. Like, I was watching the Louis C.K., and he was talking about sucking dick or some shit. Like, he would, if he's never sucked a dick or some shit. And he's like, well, how about you just put it in your mouth for 20 seconds and see how you feel? He's like, oh shit, that's a long time. And he just like looked at his clock. He's like, I'll show you. This is 20 seconds. And he's like, I was like, nigga, that's a long time. So 60 seconds to sit there and get your face punched in for 60 seconds straight. That's a lot of time. So, like, her face looked like she'd been through a fucking war. And so I understood that, like, I guess when I was watching the fight live and I'm drinking and, like, rooting for Andrade, and I was, like, banking on the fact that Rose would get tired and that Andrade would start to come on strong, and she did do that at the end of the fight, but it was too little too late because she had lost the first 2 rounds. But it was a split decision, actually, which I completely disagree with. I think Rose clearly won 2 of the rounds, but maybe I'm thinking if with the damage that Andrade was able to do in the in the third round, maybe someone gave a 10-8, but even with her hurting Rose in the third round, Rose was still able to get right back up and land some clean strikes and was just all over Andrade. So I don't know how one judge gave it to Andrade when I look at that fight back. But I mean, in the moment, who knows? People can't really go back and change how they feel about it, but you can't go back and be like, yo, I'm looking, now that I go back, Manny Pacquiao did beat Tim Bradley. You know what I'm saying? You can't go back and be like, well, obviously, Manny Pacquiao beat Tim Bradley, but, like, it's like you can't go back and, like, do it. If I could turn.
Remember dark-skinned Jermaine?
You niggas know what I'm talking about. You remember that?
Remember dark-skinned Jermaine?
But, yeah, so that's just how it is. You can't go back and change it. You gotta just score it in the moment like I did, and I chose to score it on alcohol, and I was thoroughly wrong. Go ahead and give you guys social medias. If you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. At Babylon5Pod. If you want to follow my personal accounts, it's at my name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow this podcast at babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. If you guys got Xbox, go ahead and add me. My gamer tag is SauceBoss414. If you niggas is on Twitch, go ahead and add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and check out the merchandise. Go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And don't just be my Negro, be my patron. Be my patron. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. And you'll get this episode immediately on Sunday after it's recorded. Immediately. If you niggas is on TikTok, go ahead and add a brother. If you see my profile, add a brother. This is Jermaine Event, episode 72, Sealab 2021, my nigga. Welcome to the new year. Happy New Year to you niggas. I don't know, I didn't really say that to a lot of motherfuckers, but Happy New Year to you niggas. Everybody that made it. Rest in peace to MF Doom. Everybody we lost in 2020, man. It's a rough year. Hopefully you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other. I'll see you guys next time. All right. Peace.